Imagine a world where the most profound secrets, the darkest truths, aren't whispered in hushed tones by human lips, but are instead echoed with chilling accuracy by an unexpected feathered witness. What if the key to unraveling a brutal crime lay not just in forensic evidence, the cold, hard facts, or the often unreliable statements of human witnesses, but in the indelible memory of a creature that simply repeated what it heard over and over again, an unwitting recorder of a horrific event? Today, we journey into a story that blurs the lines between the ordinary and the utterly bizarre, a tale of love, betrayal, and a parent named Bud, who, against all odds, held the chilling truth to a murder, a truth that would shake a small community and captivate a nation. In the tranquil, unassuming community of Sand Lake, Michigan, Martin and Glenna Duram shared a life that, from the outside, appeared to be quite ordinary, a picture of quiet domesticity. Martin, a man known for his unwavering work ethic, his kind heart, and his deep affection for his family, held a special bond with his beloved pet, an African gray parrot named Bud. Glenna, his wife, was his partner in life, sharing their home, their daily routines, and, as it would later emerge, a complex web of personal struggles hidden beneath the surface. But on a seemingly unremarkable day, May 13th, 2015, the peace of their home was irrevocably shattered. Police, responding to a distress call, arrived at a scene that would forever be etched into the annals of true crime. Martin Duram, lifeless, having suffered 5 distinct gunshot wounds. And beside him, Glenna, alive, but with a single critical gunshot wound to her head. The initial, gut-wrenching conclusion, one that investigators often lean towards in such tragic circumstances, pointed towards a tragic murder-suicide attempt, with Glenna as the sole traumatized survivor, a victim of a horrific event. But as the first responders gave way to seasoned investigators, and the initial shock began to recede, a disquieting sense of doubt began to creep in, a subtle unease that something was not quite right. Glenna, recovering from her injury, offered a narrative riddled with inconsistencies, a story that shifted and changed under scrutiny. She claimed a complete, convenient amnesia regarding the events of that fateful day, a blank space where the truth should have been, a memory conveniently erased. Her statements were vague, her recollections fragmented, and the nature of her own wound, while serious, didn't quite align with the desperate, self-inflicted act of someone attempting to end their own life. It was a wound that, to the trained eye, seemed almost staged, raising immediate red flags for the detectives meticulously piecing together the puzzle. Meanwhile, Martin's family, grappling with the sudden, brutal loss of a man they cherished, found themselves caught in a whirlwind of grief and confusion. The initial police theory, while offering a quick and seemingly logical explanation, felt like a profound betrayal to their understanding of Martin. They knew him as a man of peace, not violence, a loving father and husband, and the idea of him taking his own life, let alone attempting to murder Glenna, was utterly inconceivable, completely out of character. This dissonance gnawed at their hearts, fueling a desperate need for the real story, for justice that felt true to the man they had lost, a justice that honored his memory. As the investigation deepened, the veneer of the Durams' ordinary life began to peel away, revealing a troubling undercurrent of financial distress, a hidden struggle that had been festering for some time. The couple was drowning in gambling debts, their home facing imminent foreclosure, a crushing financial burden that created immense pressure. These were not the circumstances of a man planning a peaceful exit, but rather a volatile backdrop for desperation and conflict, a situation ripe for an explosive confrontation. The motive, once obscured by Glenna's convenient amnesia, began to sharpen into focus, pointing away from Martin as the aggressor and towards a far more sinister possibility. Then, from the depths of their shared grief, a new, utterly unexpected voice emerged. Not a human one, but a feathered one. Bud, Martin's beloved African gray parrot, a creature renowned for its astonishing ability to mimic human speech with uncanny accuracy, began to speak. Not just random words or phrases, but what sounded like a chilling replay of the argument that preceded Martin's death, an audio recording from the scene itself. Christina Keller, Martin's ex-wife, who had taken Bud in after the tragedy, was the first to notice this unsettling phenomenon. Bud would repeat, over and over, with an eerie, almost frantic cadence, what sounded like two distinct voices, locked in a desperate confrontation. "Don't shoot," one would shriek, the words laced with terror and desperation, and then chillingly, "Where's my money?" The family, desperate for answers and clinging to any shred of hope, clung to Bud's words as a lifeline, a potential key to unlocking the truth. Could this parent, this innocent bystander, be holding the key to Martin's last, terrifying moments? Could he, in his own unique way, be the only witness to the truth, a silent observer who had absorbed the horror? They brought their concerns to the authorities, who, understandably, were met with a mixture of skepticism and bewilderment. A parrot as a witness in a murder trial? It sounded like something out of a fictional novel, a fantastical plot twist, not a real-life investigation. But the family persisted, fueled by grief and a burning desire for justice. They saw the emotional truth in Bud's frantic repetitions, the echoes of a final, terrifying confrontation, and they refused to let it be dismissed as mere animal mimicry. The legal battle that followed was unprecedented, captivating national attention and challenging the very definition of evidence in a court of law. While Bud's words, as compelling as they were, could not be admitted as direct, sworn testimony in a court of law, a parrot cannot be cross-examined, after all. They served a powerful and undeniable purpose. They painted a vivid, heartbreaking picture for the jury, a narrative backdrop that corroborated the other pieces of evidence that were slowly but surely building a case against Glenna. The financial motive, the glaring inconsistencies in her story, the suspicious nature of her own injury, and the complete absence of any forced entry into the home, all meticulously presented by the prosecution, pointed to one devastating conclusion. The parrot's frantic cries of "Don't shoot" and "Where's my money" resonated deeply with the prosecution's theory, providing an emotional and circumstantial weight that was hard to ignore. A heated argument over money, escalating into a desperate struggle, with Glenna pulling the trigger, not once, but 5 times, ending Martin's life. After a grueling investigation and a trial that stretched on, filled with emotional testimony and legal complexities, the truth, as remembered and replayed by a parrot, finally emerged from the shadows. Glenna Duram was found guilty of first-degree murder. The jury, swayed by the totality of the evidence, including the profound emotional weight of Bud's chilling mimicry, delivered a verdict that brought a measure of closure to Martin's grieving family, a sense that justice had finally been served. It was a case where the most unlikely witness helped unravel a complex web of deceit, proving that sometimes the truth doesn't just speak, it squawks. Leaving an indelible mark on legal history, Glenna Duram was ultimately sentenced to life in prison without parole, a stark and final end to a life that had once seemed so ordinary, a tragic culmination of hidden struggles and a violent act. The case of Martin Duram's murder remains one of the most peculiar and memorable in legal history, a testament to the unexpected ways justice can be served and the strange paths truth can take to reveal itself. The parrot, Bud, continued to live with Christina Keller, his frantic repetitions eventually fading, replaced by new sounds, new memories, as time slowly healed some of the wounds. But for a significant period, he carried the burden of a secret, a chilling echo of a life violently ended. It forces us to confront the idea that truth can reside in the most unconventional places, and that sometimes the most innocent among us can bear witness to the darkest human acts, becoming an unwitting guardian of justice. It's a story that reminds us that even when human voices fall silent, the truth, in its own strange way, will always find a way to be heard, often from the most unexpected sources. What do you make of Bud's extraordinary role in this case? Do you believe a parrot's words, however accurate, should hold weight in a court of law? Or was it simply a powerful emotional piece of circumstantial evidence that helped guide the jury towards the truth? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments below. We are eager to hear your perspective on this truly unique case. If you're fascinated by true crime stories that defy explanation and delve into the hidden corners of human nature, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the mysteries that shape our world. You can also check out our playlist of other bizarre cases right here. And don't forget to follow us on social media for updates and behind-the-scenes content.